Okay, so this is the board that comes across the top. We've got two 6mm thumb screws there and two 8mm thumb screws there. They're the same distance apart, so that regardless of which way you flip this, it works. You can put the metal any way. They come apart. The M6 thumb screws fit in the M8 hole because I've got little M6 inserts in there. So the outer diameter I ground down to 8mm so that it will fit in the mounting holes for the rear. So those go back together. No, we'll just leave those apart for now. We'll take apart, let's see. So we'll unplug the Arnet cable. Unscrew the front M8, and that lets it drop down. I would do that, just unscrew that to let it drop down just to get a little more clearance so that I could load the wheelchair into the back of an SUV. Let's see. There we go. So it's pretty simple, just two 3-foot pieces of aluminum rectangle bar. It's 1 inch wide by 1/4 inch thick. Let's see, this is the back setup. That all rests on just a second set of armrest mechanisms, with the one on top flipped upside down, and then link them with some extra hardware. So the upper link is the same as this link right here. So I just bought some extra ones on eBay. So this is the factory one for the chair, so I needed 2 more. One for the left, one for the right. And then these are the original chair adjusters. Let's see. So I also needed, for these middle bolts, these bolts I believe are the same one that goes through here. So 2 more of these bolts and 2 more of those. Okay. So that's the nuts and bolts. The upper one is just an M6 furniture bolt that I got from a hardware store. So the hole that goes through here is actually 8mm. So I put a bronze bushing in to reduce it from 8mm down to 6, so that the 6mm bolt could pass through and into the 6mm hole that is in the adjuster. And then I just put another M6 nut this time on the end to hold it all together. So ask me if you have any specific questions about anything I haven't shown here. Let's see, the way that I lined up these holes, it's pretty unique. So the one critical dimension is the spacing from one hole to the other. So I went from the farthest rear hole to the farthest forward hole, and you want to get that exact. Well, there's a tool built into the chair. Like in the armrest, there's these little screws here. You can see a little flat section is in there. Well, you can back those out with a tool or even with just your finger. And there's one for each side, so each chair has 2 of them. And when you buy an extra set of arms, you'll actually end up with 4 of them. So what you can do is, I'm going to throw them into the other side. You take these little ball adjusters. They have a little ball bearing right in the center. And the purpose of that originally is to be able to set the resistance for the arms to go up and down, and it still works plenty well for that. But we're going to borrow them for another use. We're going to take 2 of them, put them in here, put them so that the little ball bearing end is just barely sticking out of the hole, and That ball bearing is going to let us mark our centers on the aluminum. Okay, see how that is just barely over the surface? Okay, to save time, I'm just going to do the one. So you'll notice the bracket here, there's a faint parting line. So you want to be able to set the same depth on each side. Let's repeat it. Not focusing very well here, but right here there's a little edge. There we go. So if you take your aluminum, you can put it right against there and it will sit against the same place each time you do that.